started to heavily spend their money in the housing market in the thought that they would get a higher return from interest rates. They started to invest in mortgage-backed securities in hopes of a higher yield. The investors wanted more and more securities, so the lenders did their best to create the amount of securities needed to meet the demands of the investors. In order to do this, they loosened their standards to give out loans, and they lowered the credit minimum and income minimum. This is how we came about subprime mortgages. Investments were becoming less and less safe, but ratings were still high because of historical trends. This period of time was great for investors because they were making money and buying. Everyone was becoming rich. The new lending and requirements and low lending rates drove the housing prices higher and made the MBSs and CDOs seem like a better investment. Why? The borrower defaults and the bank still had a valuable house on their hands, right? Wrong. This was a giant housing bubble. Meanwhile, during the year of 2007, people started to take notice that the housing prices were on a decline. Borrowers started to rapidly default. There were no more buyers because so many people defaulted and the supply goes way up and the demand goes way down. Prices started to rapidly fall in the housing market, so mortgages were way more than what the home was worth and people stopped paying, which equals more defaults. Big financial institutions stopped buying subprime mortgages and lenders were getting stuck with bad loans. Large lenders started to declare bankruptcy and the AIG sold billions of dollars worth of credit default swaps, which basically ensured the default on mortgages. Trading froze, credit froze. Then the stock market crash occurred and the U.S. economy went into a recession. Here comes the Fed to save the day. They bailed out big banks such as Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and AIG. They bought risky MBSs and CDOs, and they provided money to flow through the economy once again. The Fed bailed out the two biggest companies involved in the mortgage industry, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They decided that they are too risky to operate privately, and they placed them under conservatorship. They decided to enforce new regulations and laws into the mortgage market. Finally, Fannie and Freddie pick it back up and the mortgage market improves. So, the question is, what do we do now with Fannie and Freddie?